1 million
Uh-huh.
people. All right. And what is the surface? It's immense.
The surface is 70.1 million
I
kilometers
suppose.
square.
Per kilometers.
Mm-hmm. Square kilometers.
7,100,000 square kilometers.
Is 17.
17.
17. I'm sorry. 17. Okay, look at that. 70. Of course, that can be misleading because you have Siberia, which is not very easy to be populated. However, they have a lot of resources like gas, oil, zinc, many minerals. But okay, numbers are numbers. 8 people per square kilometer. Let's see Germany.
um,
They're like 84 million.
eight, 83.24 millions.
Yeah, they have 83 million, almost 84, but 83 million. All right. What's the surface, please?
30, 357 point, no, 300, caray, 357,588.
1,000 square kilometers.
Yes, yes.
But you're going to notice something incredible, that the density is incredibly high. They have 233 people per square kilometer. That is
Boy.
incredibly dense, much more than USA, Russia, and much more than China also. Okay, I'll tell you, I'll give you my point in a moment. India is absolutely crazy. You will notice why.
India, 1.38 miles of million. Okay.
Uh, 1,380 million. I'm sorry. Oh, Miky's back. I'm sorry, Miky. I lost Miky.
Mhm.
India is 1,380 million
It
people.
says here, yes, I thought 1.38 miles of million.
It's not miles, it's thousands of millions. Thousands of millions.
Ah, lo tengo en
1,380
español.
thousand million, yes. So
Mhm.
it's mil millones, 1,380 millones. So it's 1,380,
Yeah,
I'm
I
sorry,
heard it in Spanish.
million. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But
Okay.
that's a lot of people, incredibly large number of
Yeah.
people. And what's their surface?
The surface
Uh,
is
three. Uh-huh.
3.287 millions kilometers of quarters.
Yes, yes.
Oh, all right. Square kilometers. Square kilometers.
Yes, square kilometers.
That means 420 is even more populated. India is more populated than Japan. Obviously, almost 3 times as much as China. And let's
Yeah.
see that of Mexico. You're going to be surprised about Mexico. I think it's 125
Um,
million, 120
Mexico is
something.
128.9 million.
Okay, 128,900,000. And what's the surface, please?
The surface of Mexico is mm, 1.964 millions kilometers square.
Square kilometers.
Square kilometers.
Yeah. So you notice that the density of, well, let's look at the density of these countries. Actually, I'm going to organize it by, I'm going to filter this, organize this by what? By density. Okay. So by density, you notice that the least dense is Russia, then the US, then Mexico, and China, Germany, Japan, and India are much more dense. than the other countries. Actually, Germany, Japan, and India are much more dense than China. Did you imagine that?
That's
Notice
a
Mm-mm.
lot.
it's a lot, yeah. It's incredibly high. Notice it's almost double in the case of Japan and India. It's at least 1.5 times more for Germany. However, you don't hear in the news that people should establish a birth control in Germany and Japan. You don't.
Mm,
Nobody says that. Why? That's my question. If they have
mm,
much more dense populations than China, why nobody mentions anything about uh, Germany and Japan? Why do you think people don't say anything about this?
mm,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Um, I don't know how is the rules in India about birds and birds. How can I say nacimientos?
Births, deliveries, births.
Yeah, they were birds. So probably we know more about China because we know the rules that they have to deliver birds. That's why we know more about it.
Yeah, but yeah, okay. It's true that China has a lot of people. 1.4 billion. 1.4 billion is a lot of people. Look at India, 1.38 billion. But then also consider the density of population. The countries like Germany and Japan don't have a lot of space. However, they have much more people per square kilometer than other countries. For example, China, Mexico, the US has 33.
Yeah,
However, they put a stop to immigration, very strong immigration policies, right? Strong immigration policies. Try to immigrate or immigrate in the US or emigrate to the US, and you will find that it's not very easy, even if they have only 34 people per square kilometer. So, what can we conclude about this?
Mm, this the share of space are not fair.
Well, it's not even, at least, right? It's not even. That's a very good conclusion. Yeah,
What means even?
even parejo, nivelado.
Ah,
It's
mhm,
not even, right? Justo, I don't know if it is fair or not, but it's not even. That's for sure, right?
mhm,
So it may be fair, it may not be fair, but it's not even. And you notice that here, right?
mhm.
Do you
yeah.
think that the fact that Germany and Japan produce a lot of goods in the world and that their economies are very strong, do you think that the United Nations is going to be a little bit biased, or what do you think? The United Nations will uh, be a bit biased towards these countries? I don't know. What do you think? Or maybe not. Maybe they have other reasons not to talk about Germany and Japan. It's not that I want to criticize the United Nations, but they never talk about Germany or Japan having a lot of people and not having a birth control. What do you think?
Um, well, we need to remember that the United Nations is from United States, right?
Well, the United Nations is a group of nations that was built after the Second World War to protect from conflagration from
Mm-hmm.
countries like Germany, Japan, and Italy back then. But now I think Japan is part of the United Nations. Can we check that? Is Japan a member of the United Nations? Can we check, please, in internet maybe? Let's
Yeah.
see, is Japan a member of the United Nations? I think they are. I'm not sure, but I think they are. Well, look at that.
Yeah, Japan is part of. Uh-huh.
The United Nations.
Mhm.
And well, let me ask you something. Is Germany part of the United Nations? Do you know?
Mm,
Yeah,
It is. When did they become members?
Germany.
Germany, please.
Mm, the Federal Republic of Germany and the German Democratic Republic were admitted to membership in the United Nations of 8, um, 18 September 1973.
1973. More or less recently. Do you remember when did the Federal Republic of Germany and the other Germany got together, became joint countries, and became just one nation? Do you remember what year was that?
Mm, I think that was in 90s.
I believe it was in the late 80s. In the late 80s, like 1989. I'm not sure. When did both Germanys get together? When did both Germanys reunite? Did Germany reunite? Oh, no, you're right. You're right, Mickey.
Yes.
Yes, October the 3rd, 1990.
Mm.
It was the reunification of Germany in 1990. Okay. So all these countries, well, I don't know if all these countries, but is China a member of the United Nations? And is Russia a member of the United Nations? Do you know?
mm,
Uh, yes.
Russia is a member.
Hmm.
sí.
So member. You said Russia is a member. The U.S., Mexico is a member. China, you
Mm,
said is a member, right? Or China is
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
Yes. Germany, Japan. And what about India?
mm,
Mm, yes. India is part of the United Nations too.
And the United Nations is an organization, yes, they normally follow the interests of the of some countries. But then again, why don't they invite or suggest Japan and Germany to establish a birth control? If you were in this situation, what would you pay more attention to? To the density or to the population or to both of them? Mitch, what do you think? Would you consider this number of people a big threat to the world, or the density? Do you think that people with big space live more comfortably, or what do you guys think about this chart? Because
oof. Uh, I think now depends about the economy and the weather of each country because they could have a lot of space with not mention the fact that China don't use all the territory with the same thing because maybe for the weather or because the government don't care about that part of that territory then they live kind of well uh, a lot of mm, how can I say apretados?
crowded,
Uh-huh,
or
too
yeah,
crowded,
cramped. No, actually, no, the word is not crowded. The word is cramped,
cramped.
cramped, cramped,
Okay,
cramped. Let me put the word here. Cramped, cramped. They
cramped.
live cramped,
Okay, thank you.
cramped.
And yeah, now and other country like Japan, I think they live better. They have a better economy and education and discipline, but they don't have a lot of space. Now it depends of the government. and the weather, I think,
You
and the
you
economy
say
too.
it does depend or it does not depend? I couldn't
It
understand very
is
clearly.
depend about the government, the economy, and the weather of the country, not more of the space
Depends
for.
on. Okay, say that again, please, slowly, please. It depends on the economy,
The economy,
the
the
weather,
government, and the weather.
and the government. Okay, very interesting comment, Mitch. Okay, we're gonna debate about this a little bit more, but I agree. I like your point. Thank you, Mitch. What do you think about it, Mickey? What's your opinion?
Mm, yes, sure. Well, I think that it's necessary to focus on the three parts on population, surface, and density. But I think that mainly in density because probably well, if you have the surface to have your people and your people live live good, um, probably it's not the major problem. But in this case, if you have more population than surface, well, I think that you need to focus more in the birth norms. I don't know how to say it.
Birth control.
Birth control, yeah. And well, we need to remember that, for example, in Russia they have a big surface, but not all the surface could be habitable. I don't know how to say habitable.
Livable. Not
Habitable.
all the surface is livable. Yeah, that is true. That is true. You cannot live in Siberia. Well, people can live in Siberia. You have some cities like Nizhnevartovsk and Novosibirsk, where it's like a sanctuary of mathematicians. But yeah, it's a very, very difficult condition to live. It's like living in the North Pole. It's
Yeah.
good for bears or wolves, but not for people, right? So
Well,
I agree with you, and Mitch's comment is also very, very important. However, what about Germany and Japan? They have a huge, an incredibly high density population. Do you think they live comfortably, like in Japan, 333 people per square kilometer?
mm,
Um,
I don't know, but I think that sorry
no, continue.
that that they live good because I think that the majority of the people of those countries are elder,
Older, yes.
older, and I think that in those countries they want to have more people younger for the same because a lot of people of those countries are older.
That's true. That's true. So the average population is increasing, and that is a disadvantage. So that's another point to consider here in this chart. Let's consider the average age of the population, right? And that's an important point as well. What does that provoke in the government regarding foreign policies? If the average age of population is high or is low? For example, what about Mexico? What's the average age of the Mexican population? Do you know average age?
Let me check.
America? What?
Of all these countries, what is the average age of Mexico, for example? What's the average age of Mexicans?
Um,
The median age in Mexico is 29.2 years.
29.2, 29.2. Okay, that's the mm, average Mexican age. Okay. Can you get that for Germany and Japan, please, and other countries, maybe, please? I think because this
uh,
is gonna. Yes,
in Germany, 44.6 years.
44.6 is the mean average.
Uh-huh.
Incredibly high. What about the other countries, please?
Yeah,
In
from
Russia,
Japan.
oh,
Sorry.
the median age in Russia is 39.6 years.
9.6. All right.
And in Japan is 48.6.
So actually, it's also an older population. And let's see, India, please,
India 28.4.
is actually younger than Mexico, which
Yeah.
is incredible, right? It's amazing. Okay. What about China and the USA?
From
Mm,
USA 38.5. Point five.
and in
38.5.
China is 38.4.
Well, that's a very interesting. That's very interesting population information. Sorry. What do you make of this? Can you draw some conclusions from the average age of the population? What does that mean? For example, Mexico being so young.
Maybe I don't know if it could be related. In German and Japan, there are not too much delinquents are healthier. I don't know.
Not too much crime,
And are more
and
healthy,
people are healthy or not healthy?
more healthy,
Are
healthier.
healthier.
Healthier?
You
hmm
think they are healthier,
I just thinking about it. I don't I don't using facts.
but you believe they are healthier, which
Yeah.
is very likely to be true. It's very likely to be
hmm
true because they are healthy economies. They have healthy economies, as Mickey and you were saying. They have good incentives, good public resources, public services like hospitals, education, highways. They are very good in that regards. What do you think about this, Mickey?
Mm, yeah, well, I think that um, Germany and Japan probably they are not too worried about population and birth control because a big part of the population are older. So instead, I think that they must focus on the young people and that those people have family
Okay. So
because
you would encourage these countries to have more children, more babies.
probably not more children, but yeah, probably one more children because when those people that now are young, obviously, one day they will be older. Well, probably that could be a problem for those countries if they don't have young people.
Okay. Yeah. Which are the problems that these countries can have, Mitch, if the population is older or if the population start aging?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. Which are some of the potential problems for population when the population starts aging? So when the population start aging, which are the potential problems?
Mm, overpopulation.
Well, that's one problem, of course. You get
Well,
overpopulated, but
personally, well, Japan has a lot of overpopulation, but I actually don't see them in very more much problems. I
you
don't
don't
see
see them
them.
in many problems. Okay.
Uh-huh.
What about Germany?
I don't know a lot about Japan.
But then my question is, yes, Mickey.
Well, I think that there's a big problem if the people are not young because the country needs uh, to stay productive, and if you don't have
Uh-huh.
people to work, well, obviously that can affect your economy and your country in general.
Yeah. However, something that is puzzling or that puzzles me a lot, I am surprised by this, is the gross domestic product of these countries. The gross domestic
Mm,
product is the Producto Interno Bruto, right? Gross
yeah.
domestic product. And you will notice, you will be surprised the huge difference as we were looking at the other day. Remember that we saw the gross domestic product of a country like the US compared to China and compared to Mexico, Germany, and Japan.
Yeah.
That what does that tell you? Does that tell you about the productivity of the people, the productivity of the nation as a whole? What does it tell you when you compare the gross domestic product of various countries?
Mm, well, when you compare the gross domestic product uh, with two or more countries, you can notice the efficiency
Yes.
and the productivity of the countries. For example, I have here a chart.
Yes. Can you
Uh,
share that with us? Let me close my.
yes, sure.
Let me close mine. Okay. And then I'll go to your chart. Yes, Mickey, please.
Hmm.
Okay. I'll show it.
Well, here you can compare Japan, Germany, and South Korea, I think.
South Korea. Yes.
Yeah, and well, we can notice that Japan is uh, well has more gross domestic products than Germany and that South Korea, and the difference is considerable. Japan has 5.065 billions. Germany has 3.861 billions, and South Korea 1.647 billions. Obviously, this information is of 2019, but I think that is not
Yeah.
very recent.
It's more or less recent, more or less recent. So that is acceptable. Is there a way that you can compare the economies, for instance, from Japan, China, and the US? Is it possible to include it in the same chart?
Let me check. Probably we can. Uh, China, Japan, and US.
And the US, yeah.
Uh, Probably it's not like a chart, but let me say. Let me see if there's an image.
Yeah, you got it
Um,
there. Perfect.
mm, mm, mm.
Well, the one on the right gives a lot of information, actually.
This one.
No, the one on the right where it
This
says
one.
GDP.
Yeah. Let me open other window. Mm, it's projected, but
Projected. Yeah, okay, it is actually we're in the 20s. So this chart is
yeah.
for the early 20s,
Hmm.
2020, and there is a projection. It is projected that China will continue to grow and will match the US. Japan is
And
gonna remain stable. Which one is India?
India is the orange.
The orange or the orange? Is the one growing or is the one that is stable below 10
I think that this is this one, so is will grow.
will grow? Germany seems to stay stable for a few decades.
It's probably for the issue that we mentioned it, that the people are older.
And you believe the same is going to happen with Japan, right?
Yeah, if you
Yeah,
notice, there are both Japan and Germany.
they're going to remain stable, not growing,
Hmm.
as opposed to the US, China, and India. What do you make of this chart, Mitch? Do you think that it justifies the population of the growth of the population, or it does not justify?
Actually, I don't understand this um, scheme.
The scheme shows that the economy of the US China and India is going to grow, whereas the economy of Germany and Japan is going to remain stable, flat for the next few decades, at least 40 years.
Mm,
But then my question is, do you think that the fact that the Americans, the I'm sorry, that does it justify the growth of the population, or it does not justify? Actually, China and India are overpopulated, but Japan and Germany have more density. China and India have a lot of people.
mm,
Germany and Japan have a lot of people per square kilometer.
mm,
So they are very dense, more than China, but not as much as India.
mhm,
So the question is, if you think that the overpopulation or the excess population is connected with the economy or is not connected or has nothing to do, is there a correlation between economy and population or not?
um, maybe.
Maybe. Well, more people in the country, more hands to work, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But then also the other variable which we had in the chart. I'm gonna take a screenshot of your graph, Mickey.
Yeah, if you wish, teacher, I'm gonna share another window, and it's bigger, the
Oh,
image.
okay. Okay, thanks.
Mm, 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 mm. Can you see it?
Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, now I can see it. Thank you. Okay, this is very nice. So, okay, let me ask Mitch this question. What is going on with the Chinese economy, Mitch? What is going on?
It's growing.
It's growing. What about the economy of the US?
It's growing too.
And when are they going to match? When are they going to be equal? Besides the
Mm,
30s, in what other years, in what decade they're going to be
mm,
approximately
in
the same?
the 60s.
In the 60s, right? Like in 40 years.
Mhm.
But then what's going to happen with the Japanese and the German economy, Mickey? What's going to happen?
Mm, well, the economy of Germany and the economy of Japan seems to be equal since 2020 until 2060.
And the hypothesis, I don't remember if it was you or if it was Mitch who said that it's because the people are aging, people are getting older.
Yeah, it
Is that
was
the justif?
my hypothesis.
Okay. Um, what is the? Let me check the average of China. China has an average of 38, and the US of 30, 38 and 38 actually is about the same.
Yeah.
Well, it is impressive. The fact that these countries are in average 6 and 10 years younger gives a big advantage. Mm, it's puzzling. It makes me think about the importance of being young. Do you think younger people are more productive,
Mm, I think that if they are disciplined, yeah, they are more productive and effective.
effective, and
Yeah.
efficient? Right?
Mhm.
Yeah, all it's about discipline.
All
Uh,
this about this.
mhm.
And Mitch, do you think that experience counts or it doesn't count too much?
Now, young people could prepare for themselves more than a, a school can give that preparation. Um, I, I lost my point. Sorry.
Well, the question was if younger people can become more effective, more efficient, or more productive than older people, or if experience counts a bit. What do you
Of
think?
course, the experience count, but I think no matter how age, it could be people that can be effective or non or not effective, no matter the age.
So there are other factors which we're not considering here, which have to do with the productivity, and it's not necessarily age, right? That's what you're
Hmm.
saying. Okay, what do you think
Yeah,
about
not
that
that much.
point, Mickey? Excuse me, say that again, Mitch.
Not that much. It could depends of each person of their discipline and preparation.
Okay, and do you think that is an individual effort or is an effort of the society, an effort of the system? In other words, if we have a regime which stimulates discipline, development, progress, having 125, almost 129 million people is going to allow our economy to grow if we establish a correct system, or is just based on individual effort,
Mm, I think that it must be like a mix.
like a mixture? Okay.
Yeah,
How
because
is that, Mickey?
mm, we have an education, but if we don't follow, well, if we don't have a good culture, if we don't be respectful for the others, for the time, and in this occasion, for the work that we're doing, the system is not going to work. But instead, if you work together with the system, probably you will be more productive and efficient.
I see. Okay. Do you agree, Mitch, that is a mixture between the system and the individual or family effort? In other words, if you, I'm gonna share, I'm gonna go back to your chart, Mickey, in a moment. Let me just uh,
Yeah.
add. Let me share
Hmm. Can I
this.
go for a glass of water, teacher?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
If I go to this
Mm,
chart again, Mitch, you notice that Mexicans are 129 million people and the population is very young.
mhm.
However, you know that the gross domestic product and the productivity is growing, is getting there, but we still need more. What do we need to continue growing and becoming stronger as a nation? Is that possible? Is that desirable? Is that something achievable? Something that we can achieve in the next 5 or 10 years? What do you think?
Well, I'm agreed with Mickey that he said there is a mix of prepare people, the society, and themselves. But well, we have to take in account that we have all the sharing and information of the all the history of humanity in our hands, that it is our cell phone and internet, and a lot of people don't even use it correctly, in um, in comparison with other countries that are more disciplined, that could prepare themselves even with the disciplines of education of each home. But we have to take in account the psychological parts of each people, and how each people can work and understand. But yeah. Mhm.
Okay, can you repeat this last comment because it's very, very interesting. You have to take into account the psychological part of what?
Of the mind of the people, uh,
Okay. Why? Why should we take into account the psychological part of the mind of people?
because their families, that they educate their children in the way that they think is correct, but unfortunately, they how can I say maltratar?
Mistreat.
Mm-hmm, mistreat their childs too bad, thinking that are the correct form, and but actually those methods are not that effective in comparison with other education that could be more love and patient with the kids. And it, of course, can be the discipline is very important. By that's why I'm talking about the psychological the part.
It's okay. Well, Mitch, what you're saying is incredibly important, but I have a question for that. You said something which is very interesting and it's also true. However, is saddening. It's saddening. It makes me a bit sad. And don't make me wrong, I like the comment very much. But how can it be that we have all the information of the world, and you said of the world, of the history of the world in our hands, but we don't use it? It's incredible, right? We have it in our hand at the reach of one button, but we don't
Uh-huh.
use it. We prefer to be fooling around with TikTok or Facebook or other things, which is okay, but we don't. We have the golden information at our disposal, but we don't use it. How can we change that? Because the info is at our disposal. We can use it, but we don't
Mhm.
use it. Okay. Well, how can we change that? How can we use the information effectively? You're right. Yes. Just click, look for how to make the desert fertile, how to be more effective, how to produce more, how to be happier, how to be healthier. But people don't click those buttons, those in the search engine. We don't click how to be fitter, how to be healthier, how to be nicer, how to be more productive. People don't
Mhm.
click it. You do. Mickey does. I occasionally do. Our
Mm.
close people do it, but not the majority of people. What do you think about that, Mickey?
Uh, well, sometimes I don't do it because there you have all the knowledge in your cell phone and your computer, but you have a lot of um, entertainment.
Yeah, which is not. Do you think entertainment is bad? I don't think it is bad, but
No,
w-
I don't think that it is bad, but it must be a balance, and the majority of people don't have
Mhm.
a balance. So I think that people don't look for those kind um, of information because they prefer to have like a instantly uh, satisfaction instead of still learning or reading different information or information that are useful.
Ooh,
Gratification, yeah.
absolutely agree.
can I
I totally.
comment something, teacher?
Please, 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 Mitch. Please go ahead.
Okay. I agree that Mickey said, and I think it's something ligated with how the school give us teach us how to need how how we need to learn how learn more things. Um, and being honest, a lot of students consider school pretty too very bored, and the techniques of a lot of teachers I think are not the best, and maybe psychologically the people think that they try to learn something new by themselves. They only know the ways that the teachers gave them, and that techniques are pretty boring for them and for me too, that but they don't know other techniques to learn that could be more efficient or entertaining for them. The people loves entertaining. For example, I draw every day a lot of time. Illustration is my golden point for my future, though. But at the same time, I'm hearing a lot of podcasts and all and books. That's the way I learn. Read for myself don't work for me. Uh, could be contraproducent, but I can't read. Of course, I know read, but I that's not the way that I learn more things. I'm more visual and listener. Mhm. The people
Th-
has to find their way of their learn things, but and go with the same. The school give them techniques that for a lot of people are bored and they don't want to try to learn more things, but because they're thinking that gonna be the same or worst or more bored than the school, and I think it's for that. It's
well,
related a lot of things.
it's connected with that, right? Yeah,
Hmm.
that's incredibly interesting. And I wish many teachers uh, like me could be able to hear this comment because it is true. We're not updating our techniques. We're not becoming renewing our techniques. We're using the old methods, and that makes teaching and learning difficult, boring, and sometimes obsolete. Yeah, that's totally true. We need to accept that and improve from there. What do you think, Mickey? Let's make some last comments about Mitch's comment, which is very, very strong, but very true also. What do you think?
Mm, yeah, I agree with Mitch. Sometimes it is bad, but for example, when you sometimes you like a student tends to to don't like some classes or some uh, uh, how can I say materias? I forgot it.
Subjects, some
Yeah,
subjects.
some subjects for the way how the teacher teach the class and happened with the information. For example, there's information, but if you don't have like enough discipline and habit to read it, you're not gonna do it. But obviously, it parts from you. But sometimes external situations affects that if you will do it or not.
Right, right. Then Mitch is also resorting to the concept of self-help, right? Self-help teaching methods. In other words, sometimes, according to what you said, Mitch, sometimes it's better, more productive, and more satisfying to study by yourself.
Hmm.
And that
Just,
happens.
sorry.
Yeah, no, continue, please.
Just if you find your learning method, because if not, it can not to work.
Absolutely, yes, of course. But it's always, in a way, you can also say that you have become a researcher, and a researcher, which is what people do in a doctoral level, in the doctoral degree level, they become self-learning people. They start researching by themselves. In a way, they have become independent, or they are responsible of their own learning. And that tends to happen in a higher level of education, like when you're in a doctoral degree. If a person manages to become independent at a young age, that shows a high maturity level. But also, it is important to uh, let me think. It is important to consider that you can always learn something from the other people. Maybe their methods are old, but sometimes the old school has positive things too. For
Yeah,
example,
obviously.
for example, being disciplined, being persistent. Some of the
Hmm.
methods are obsolete,
Some.
but some others are still valid. I
Mhm.
would say, of course, we need to
Oh, of course.
set the topic in a panel, of course,
Mhm.
and draw a conclusion from from specialists, right? But the point
Mhm.
is truly interesting, and I think it's a big responsibility for teachers and schools to hire competent, committed teachers, and not cheap teachers. Maybe they say, oh, okay, this teacher is cheap. I don't have to pay him a lot, so I hire him for the school. Because the other one has a doctoral degree or has a master's degree or has a lot of experience, but he wants to charge a lot. Yeah, I think that's a way to see it. But there is also the the responsibility that we as teachers bear in becoming updated, in renew our teaching methods, and it's a very high responsibility teachers have, because if we are not able to convey useful information, what's going to happen with youth, with students, right? We are
Mhm.
not only not motivating the students but demotivating them, and
Yeah.
that's terrible. So
Absolutely.
I like your point very much, and believe me, I'm going to share that with my colleagues. So
Hmm.
Actually, teacher,
yes, yes, yes.
actually, I want to congratulate you because no one in my life teach me English in this way.
Oh,
You
thank you very
always
much.
teach us in different vocabulary, different subjects of everything. You can give the conversation of all, and I've never could formulate than more than four works together until I have classes with you. And I
Thank you
think
much.
Mickey has a similar opinion with that because the other teachers give us a pretty obsolete, for my opinion, techniques that don't work for a lot of students, but you have a techniques pretty new, pretty fresh, and it really works. So
Thank you very
then
much.
thank you, thank you,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Mitch. Very nice comment. I'm gonna record. Actually, we are recording. Okay, I'm joking, but thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. The idea is that it's easy to discuss things with people who are cold, have good culture, are very educated, and you have a lot of knowledge and experience in many environments. So it's kind of easy to do it with smart people. So thank you very much, Mitch. Thank you, Mickey. And
Thank you.
well, it's my job, it's my work, and I do it very happily.
Mhm.
Um, well, let's leave it there. Uh, Good job, guys. As usual, we have our next session, I believe, when tomorrow,
Um, Thursday.
Thursday,
Thursday.
yeah, tomorrow. Yeah,
At
tomorrow is
Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
tomorrow from what, three, four
Uh,
thirty to 5:30, right?
I have here the schedule. Um, Thursday, well, we put 4:30 to 5:30.
Okay, right. Okay, perfect. Very nice. Well, Mitch, Mickey, then see you tomorrow, and wonderful conversations as usual. I enjoy them very much and I learn a lot as well. So
Thank you very much, teacher.
thank you,
take
teacher, so
care
much
and
for your
see you
time in the
tomorrow.
class.
Have a
See you
wonderful
tomorrow,
day.
teacher.
Bye. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Take care. Goodbye.
Good
See you.
night.
Bye
Bye.
Goodbye,
bye.
teacher.